Hi everyone, it's Helen from Cloud Zebra here. Just wanted to catch up from where we started from the other day. Just finish off that chat about spirituality and energy. In fact, what I'm going to do is start from the beginning, so you don't have to watch two different videos. If you see a little black cat going by, that's Mario. He's my little bushy cat. I don't have the full-on witch's cat. I've got a black and white one, so perhaps half and half. Anyway, spirituality. What does that mean to me, and what might it mean to you? So, first of all, I just wanted to say that these are my thoughts, my beliefs. I'm always happy to change them and consider other opinions. And that's the way that I like to present things. This is just the way that I think things might go. So if you have a different opinion, please do let me know, because I'd love to take that into account as well, and then perhaps adjust things going forward. So just for those of you that are perhaps fairly new to spirituality or haven't yet found any of my Cloud Zebra pages or anything along those lines, just wanted to cover off what I think of as spirituality. I think of it as being a couple of different things. There is the side that is all about being a medium, communicating with the other side, ghosts and doing seances and that type of thing. That very definitely is part of spirituality. It's about spirit beyond us. But for me, it's also about respecting and understanding the energy flows in and around us and connecting us to other things. So connecting you to your pets, to even to houses, because they pick up and resonate with different energies. It can be places, can be rocks, can be old burial sites, all sorts of different things have an energy. All the animals around us, plants do, trees do, all sorts of things have an energy. If you've watched, temporarily forgotten the name of that film, Avatar, that's the one. I'm forever forgetting films. So Avatar has that whole theme running through it, that we are one with nature. And if we focus, we can feel the power of nature. And I think there is a very large grain of truth in that. If we do quiet our minds a little and keep out the modern hubbub of information that's coming in all the time, you can feel things around you. So here, where I live, we have the Piedra y Flora, if I'm pronouncing that right in my slightly dodgy Spanish, and people say that it is really tranquil and peaceful here. And I do feel a sense of peace whenever I'm sat outside, appreciating the view and just feeling the energy from the place. So spirituality is a very, very wide concept in my view. So through these videos and the practical sessions that I hold here in Almanzora, we'll be exploring all the different ideas that people can then go off in turn and explore them themselves and just experience a whole bunch of different things. So I think feeling that you are connected to something other than just the here and now can give you a greater sense of fulfillment. We like to think that we matter in this world. And we might, and there again, we might not, or not in that human context. We may not get some kind of award or be terribly famous. And that for some people would be considered to be really, really shallow. Maybe it's more appropriate to just feel sort of the inner sense of happiness and peace that we all possess, but we often overlook. So by spending a bit of time meditating or just being quiet with your mind, could be just sat in the garden, watching the birds. That might be all you need just to quiet your mind and feel the connection with the earth and other things and people. I highly recommend it. Do try it if you haven't already. So my sort of immediate background is, well, I did all sorts of boring jobs as job stuff. But when I was knee-high to a grasshopper, then I believed in fairies, and I still do, I have to admit. There was a little bit of a tree stump out, so big, and as far as I'm concerned, that was a fairy house. I don't know what made me decide that, but it's such a deep belief that I think I must have seen something or felt something at some stage. So if believing in fairies is not for you, feel free to disregard this part entirely. But that's where my sort of spirituality took hold. And I was lucky enough to grow up on a farm in Devon in the UK. So there were lots and lots of lovely green open spaces, and we spent loads of time out in nature. And my family were farmers, so again, we respected animals and land. So we grew up with all of that Mother Earth and Gaia all around us. So really, really lucky about that. And I'm really pleased to return to peaceful countryside now and the tranquility that offers. When I got to being about 30 or so, I'd spent a long time never quite feeling like I fitted in. I'm always trying to sort of just tweak myself a tiny bit, just to try and fit in. And then eventually I realised that no one else really cared whether I did or I didn't. So I set about feeling like I should belong, and just not worrying about fitting in and just being myself. So I've been on that path ever since, and like everybody, you have good days and bad days. But through spirituality and energy and the grounding that gives me, I feel much better able to cope with the world, and indeed to try to inspire others to find their own path of happiness. Once I got to about 30, then I discovered Reiki, and my mother-in-law taught me Reiki and energy and how you could feel so much better about the world if only you regulated your own energy, realize that emotions are your thing. They are not, someone else did not make you feel a certain way. It was your reaction to an external stimuli that made you feel that way. So you do have control. So going through all of this process and then beginning to learn about oracle cards, tarot, healing, all sorts of different things just intrigued me, because it was going above and beyond what other people taught me was possible. So schools tell you that, they tell you about energy in that they say that electricity comes in and it goes to a light bulb and then it produces light and a bit of heat. So that electrical energy that perhaps came from moving water or burning coal has now been transported into light and heat. And that heat then dissipates throughout the room, and the energy is changing the whole time. Energy cannot be removed at all. It just changes into another form. So again, that got me thinking, both when I was at school and afterwards, just thinking that, well, there's a spark of energy in me. I know this because I've had an ECG. I've seen that little spike going up and down and doing all of its things that's recording the electrical activity. I've seen brain scans of the type where either the zigzaggy lines again or the ones where you have the beautiful bright colours, and you can see the electrical impulses that are flicking on and off to control everything we do and everything we think. So if I've got electrical energy in me, something must happen to it once I'm dead. So I know that my body's going to disappear, but where does that little life spark that keeps me alive, whereas, say, this bit of paper, you wouldn't say is alive. It's not got any electrical discharge itself. So I must be different to that sheet of paper. So I think that spark goes somewhere else. My personal thoughts are that it goes up to some kind of collective consciousness cloud, perhaps where angels and greater beings live, for want of a better word. And I do think we are here to learn lessons, and we learn something, hopefully in a lifetime, and move on, and then perhaps learn something else. So I think our life spark goes into a collective cloud, but I'm really interested to hear what other people's thoughts are on that one. Again, I think there's probably some kind of God type thing, but I'm more inclined to call it a creator. I don't think that it's a being like a human. I don't think we have the capability to see or control or even imagine what the world could have been. I don't believe that. So lots of religions they just don't work for me because of that core belief that religions tend to have. You are most welcome to have a religion and be into spirituality. It's entirely your choice. As I say, it's your belief system. I do think there could be a creator, some kind of alternate thing, but it could be a committee, it could be like an angel or a guardian angel, I suppose. But more likely, I think it's something that we cannot comprehend as humans. It is something so different and so more perhaps complex that it's perhaps not even worth us thinking about it. It's best to carry on and be the best and the happiest that we can possibly be. So that's why I'm into spirituality and find that it's really helpful. Just the quietness, the stilling of the mind, and sometimes the communicating with things or healing. It's all quite an important part of who I am now. So that's sort of the bit about spirituality, just checking my notes there. Energy, that was the other bit that I just wanted to cover. Energy is all around us, as we've already mentioned a little bit. Light, electricity, heat, radiation, microwaves, all sorts of different types of energy. So in the practical group, we were chatting about, how do you feel energy? Give us some sort of context and some ideas. And we were talking about, sometimes you can walk into a house and you know it's empty. Sometimes you can also walk into a house that's deadly quiet, but you know there is somebody there. You can feel a person or a thing's energy. So that might be called an aura. So we'll talk about auras in another session and how that's our own sort of energy shell. And we'll do part about auras on the next video. We talked about the soul and the life spark. That's definitely got to be energy. We know about the electrical spark. You might also have some deja vu moments. Perhaps you just know when your best friend's going to call, or you know when your mum's been taken ill. All of those sorts of things are all instances of energy travelling and communication travelling through energy beyond that which science tends to acknowledge. You have crystals. So crystals come in all sorts of shapes and forms, different colours, different things, and they all have a purpose. So we had a little bit of a play with those, looking at different colours, different densities, and how they feel. And again, crystals will be something that we cover in a separate video, where we look at the healing power of them and how different things can be good for different stuff, whether it's on a physical or emotional sort of space. Get off. They go down through the central line. Again, separate video for that. I will be covering it off. It's quite important that you try to get your chakras to balance, but none of us are perfect and they hardly ever do. So it's not to worry about, please don't. Each chakra relates to a different type of energy, a different colour, a different feel even. So we will be exploring that side of things later. There is also the Chinese meridian. So that's, if you've ever seen an acupuncture chart, you'll see all the lines sort of going up the arms and up through the body, and they are the energy pathways. So the acupuncturist will trigger the energy on a line to either increase the chi or decrease it. So they know how to balance it, and it's a very detailed science. I think acupuncture is a fantastic thing and can help a lot of people with a lot of things. It's all about rebalancing. So colours we mentioned a little bit with chakras. I think each colour has a different kind of resonance as well. So I've got my pink on today. So that would typically be to do with heart energy, compassion, how you feel about how the world's treating you, and also how much love and sort of free flow that you have giving back to the world as well. So that's perhaps appropriate for today. There's some blue in my skirt. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, blue. So blue would all be about throat area and talking, communication. So that's part of today. So what a coincidence. If coincidences exist, that I chose pink and blue for today, knowing that I was going to be doing this video for you. Other things, what else do we have? We have emotions. So anger. If you describe anger as either a colour or a shape, you'd probably come up with something like orange and spiky. Whereas if you just said about love, then you might have perhaps a pale colour or a pink or a red, and perhaps a rounded sort of a shape. So it's interesting how we think emotions have a colour or a shape, and we also think that colours have an emotion. So the two things seem to be connected from both ends, although you may never have thought about it before. So you have all of the different touches and senses. You've got touch, you've got sight, taste, smell, hearing, and feeling. So all of those emotions have an energy about them. We talked about seeing things on the other side. So ghosts or poltergeists, they all have an energy. It's often cold spots or electrical and things moving around. So that's quite a big range of different types of energy. I also think that places have. So you might go somewhere and go, oh, it's a horrible place, this. Another place you go, oh, I feel so relaxed here. Yet they could look almost completely identical. We had that experience a few years ago when we went to a notorious beauty spot called Simonjiat. It's meant to be very, very beautiful, and it did look nice. But both me and Austin, who was with me that day, thought it felt absolutely terrible, and we had a massive sense of foreboding. Now, it wasn't any kind of premonition, nothing bad happened there. We just didn't like the energy and the space there that day. So we drove to the car park, we drove away because we didn't like it. I think talking about energy, we are going to come on how to regulate your energy and how to control that and put personal protection up in the next video. So energy is really about current and flow and balance. If we can keep that current going, keep it flowing, and then work out how to balance the energies there, there will always be some negative, but there will hopefully always be some positive to balance it out and anchor us. too much happiness and too much pleasure can be almost as bad as sadness and depression, because that can really make you go off the rails. Try asking the celebrities that do the drink driving or drug taking. You just need to be on a high the whole time. And it can be in much lesser forms as well, just with other addictions and that type of thing. So we'll perhaps talk about that on yet another session. So we've got lots and lots of things coming up. So I hope that's sort of been a little bit informative. And I know I'm very much talking at you, but I hope that it's of interest to you. And if you'd like to know any more about spirituality or controlling pain, anxiety and isolation, then please do come and visit us at cloudzebra.net for the website, or we have a Facebook page, which is just at Cloud Zebra. So look forward to meeting you all, and thanks for listening. Bye.